Of champions. And where else can you find bobblehead dolls of The Rock and the Marvelous One? Only at Campanelli Stadium, home of this week's Friday night fights, outdoors under the lights on this beautiful summer evening. It is now time for our main event. James Lubwana and Rodney, two veteran light heavyweights on Friday night fights, presented by AutoZone. 36-year-old James Lubwana from Uganda, but defected on a state-sponsored boxing trip to New York back in '98. Since then, he's been a hard-working pro. He's labeled the African Express. He's 16-2-2. He has 9 knockouts. There are his last 5 fights. Has not tasted victory since March 2004. You can see that he's had 2 controversial draws and a loss. He's 3 years removed from his best win. That was against the undefeated Randy Griffin. And there's 37-year-old Rodney Tony, originally from nearby Boston, Mass. That's where he learned the sport. Then he became an accomplished pro in Southern California. Now he's come back east, and he checked in there, 5'9", 176 3/4. Rodney's last 5, big gaps of inactivity. Most recently, only 4 fights in the last 7 years. So here's what these 2 veterans think about this matchup.
Put a lot of pressure on him to come forward. Taking my time, though. You know, I'm not going to rush. I'm just going to take my time and walk him down. You know, I'm hoping that he's just going to do what my trainers have me, you know, like reaching and stuff like that. So we're just going to counter punch, make him pay for everything he missed.
When the bell's in, I just go straight to him. I jab him. I see what he does. When he doesn't answer, yeah. When he allows me to play my dance from him, so I can't let him control me. I want to be ahead of him every time. I'll be on him. I press him.
So, Teddy, that's what James Lubwana says the fight plan is. What do you think the fight plan is for him?
Well, number one, he talking about walking down. Well, throw a million. That would be punches. That's your style. No sense in changing now. Keep our punch stack guys very busy. And number 2, don't start from too far. Yes, you throw a lot, but sometimes you throw from too far away. Leave yourself open to counters. Work your way in before you throw. And finally, number 3, don't stop when close. You work like heck to get close. Then you sometimes just lay there. Doesn't make sense. Make sure when you do get in, you continue to move those hands.
And for Rodney Tony.
Well, for Tony, number 1, the right way. The right hand can often be the right way with his southpaw. Throw it. Number 2, catch him on the way in. We talked about him walking in. He talked about walking in. He will leave himself open as he comes in wide and from far away. You must time him by punching as he comes in and keep them straight. And finally, number 3, stop bouncing. He's bouncing now. You waste a lot of motion by bouncing up and down on your feet. You're not set to punch when you do this. Settle down and get set to punch.
10 rounds, run a good, clean, professional fight. Obey my commands at all times. Okay, let's touch him up. Touch him up, guys. There you go.
Well, there's the ring experience, and you can see the numbers favor Tony, but he has not been active recently. But if he can draw upon that experience, beat Charles Brewer, was in with William Joppy, well, then he can turn that into an advantage. But the inactivity, clearly a disadvantage for Rodney Tony.
Well, one stat that could also be a disadvantage for Tony is his record against southpaws. 0-2, one of those losses by knockout.
And Teddy, was the first thing he said to me when I visited with him right before we went on the air tonight. He made mention of fighting a southpaw, so clearly it's on his mind. Round number 1, they're scheduled for 10. Lubwana wearing the black with white trim. Rodney Tony in the blue with white trim.
Joe, it would be on your mind, too, if you never beat a southpaw.
That's right. That's right.
Those ring mats, the advertising already getting in the way, and sometimes, I wonder how Bernard feels about that, but sometimes they can really upset a rhythm of a fight and maybe even injure a fighter when a fighter's using the ropes, using the ring, and getting near the ropes. Quite often you see a fight can really be turned a little bit by those advertisement bumpers there where a fighter can trip a little bit.
We'll be sure to ask him when we visit with Bernard Hopkins during this main event. I'll also want to let you know that we will be live ringside with Kasim the Dream Uma. Our first chance to hear from Kasim Uma following his shocking upset loss. Of course, Kasim Uma very close with James Lubwana. They've had similar lives, known each other since they were children, and both escaped the horrors of the situations they were in Uganda.
What you see is what you get. A very unorthodox, awkward southpaw, Lubwana. Likes to come forward most of the time, but every once in a while he'll confuse you a little bit. He's not predictable. That goes along with being unorthodox and awkward. Not predictable. A guy that when you think he's coming forward, then all of a sudden he'll step backwards and he'll look to counter in spots too. So a lot of dimensions to Lubwana, but the main dimension by Lubwana is he likes to come forward and throw a lot of punches. And usually he'll go downstairs to the body too. You can see that unorthodox approach of Lubwana as he pulls away and gets away with it from the punches of Tony. I don't think Tony's serving himself well here early by chasing an awkward Lubwana. Probably better off letting Lubwana come to him. What do you think about that, Bernard? We'll get a chance to see what Bernard thinks about that later on. But when you have a guy that is as awkward and unorthodox as Lubwana, let him come to you. At some point, he's got to come into your punching range. And Tony's strength is to counter anyway. When he chases after Lubwana, he gets himself out of position. And the more he gets himself out of position, Joe, the more it's going to serve with Lubwana. Because he's a guy that lives out of being out of position. He lives off of that. He conducts himself well when he's off balance and when he's distorted. There's certain fighters that can do that.
So we come to the end, and you can see that awkwardness throughout the first round. We come to the end of round number 1. They are scheduled for 10, these two veteran light heavyweights here in Brockton, Massachusetts. Outside, wonderful, beautiful setting. We've been visiting with many of our friends here, and now we're visiting with a man who has been on Friday Night Fights numerous times. The former 154-pound titleist Kasim Uma joins us ringside. Kasim, let's get right to the meat of the matter. We were utterly stunned a few weeks ago, and here are the highlights of what happened with your fight from a very game, Roman Karmazin. Please explain how this happened.
Well, listen, I won't say too much, but I would like to let everybody know, all my fans around the world, that I'll be right back, and things happen. Whatever happens, I'm going to fix that on my way back as I'm coming back. So wait for that. Kasim back is coming right
What do you
back.
have to do? What do you have to do to make the second fight different?
Well, I have to do something that I didn't do in the ring. I did not throw my punches, and I would like to throw them.
Why? You weren't in top shape?
I was in shape, Teddy. I won't complain, but I'll be back.
Good luck.
Kasim Uma with the ringside. Stay with us here for this second round. Love to get your thoughts on James Lubwana, who I know. Detail for me, give me a sense of the relationship. Obviously, you guys have a shared experience growing up together in Uganda.
He's a great guy, you know. He's a guy who looked out for me when I was going for national juniors from national schools. I was running, he was going for national Commonwealth. They had to call me like, so Kasim, I was down, I was tired on the hill. He would say, like, Kasim, you can't give up on this right here. You have to go so hard. Then he pulled my pins, he pulled me up. Like, okay, if you don't go up on this hill, you're not gonna win this fight. And I did it, and I was the juniors champion.
Wonderful story of the mentoring relationship between James Lubwana and Rodney Tony. Kasim, obviously we have a vested interest, having been with you so many times. We always wish you the best of luck and continued success. And throughout your career, hopefully you'll be able to bounce back after a stunning, wonderful effort from Roman Karmazin just this month. Kasim Uma with us here. Thank you very much.
Let me tell you, if there was a dictionary or encyclopedia of difficult, awkward style fighters, the name of Lubwana would be in that book. When you think he's going out, he comes in. When you think he's going in, he goes out. That's right there, proof of it. Again, the opportunities, I believe, offensively for Tony, Joe, in this fight are twofold. One is to try to catch Lubwana, time him as he's coming in, because when he comes in, he will come in a little available, sometimes from a little far away, sometimes a little wide, a little bit open. Time him coming, and the other, time him going.
You can see he tried to do that just moments ago with that right hand.
Those are the opportunities for Tony. Time him coming in and step with him and see if you can catch Lubwana when he goes out in that awkward fashion and sometimes that straight fashion, as you just saw right there. The right idea for Tony. One thing you don't want to do with Lubwana, we touched on it in the first round, Joe. If you're Tony, you don't want to chase him all over the ring because you're going to get yourself out of sorts, out of position. And as I said earlier, Lubwana's the kind of guy that lives in that world of all kinds of different dimensions, out of position, where he looks like he's off balance, but then all of a sudden he's doing that, he's throwing at you. Tony is not one of those guys. You don't want to get into the world of Lubwana. Sounds like a video game.
Oh, there's his pulling straight back right there. And
those are the opportunities.
To catch him with that right hand. Indeed they are, Teddy.
This is where, and I'm sure Bernard would say the same thing, this is where Tony has to be patient, disciplined, but not wait too long and take advantage of those moments.
See if he can do more in the third round.
Hey. So, what have you been up to?
Nothing. So what have you guys been up to?
Nothing.
Wherever your business takes you, count on more bars in more places. That's the goal of the largest digital voice and data network in America.
Sweet Melissa.
Singular's all over network. Singular, raising the bar.
The WNBA now playing on ESPN and ESPN2.
Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas with you in Brockton, Massachusetts. We are at Campanelli Stadium. Here, the home of Rocky Marciano. Light heavyweights in our main event, James Lubwana and Rodney Tony. Round number 3 between these two veterans. Tony's 37 years old. He's wearing the blue with white trim. Lubwana, very awkward southpaw, originally from Uganda, but escaped to New York and is forged ahead with a late blooming pro career. He's wearing the black with white trim.
You have to be very steady to deal with a style, an awkward style like Lubwana. Tony has the experience to do that, having fought 3 world champions. You know, it's a funny thing. You talked about all those gaps, and there's a lot of them of inactivity of Tony. Matter of fact, to get right to it, 6 years of inactivity for Tony in the last 7 years. That's a lot of inactivity. In some ways, it may serve him because he's a guy with a lot of odometers. A lot of miles on the odometer. It's just a lot of wear on those tires. And maybe,
well, it's just like a car, Teddy, with the same point, but also when you keep a car around that long, you get some rust on it, too. So it may not look as good. You got to shake up some of that rust, but it may run fine.
Yeah, but exactly. But with Tony, I think that maybe getting that rest may have served him pretty well because he was starting to look a little worn. And maybe being away from the ring, getting in the garage if he was a car, getting a little bit of a tune-up, getting off the road, may have served Tony just a little bit, where he's got a little bit more in his tank for tonight's go.
We've seen that before. Fighter as they creep up in age. Rodney Tony now 37 years old. Of course, in the studio tonight, Bernard Hopkins, a man who seems to not have an odometer at all. You know, Teddy, and we'll talk to Bernard about this later, remind me to mention him, but one of the theories going on around the boxing business with Jermaine Taylor and Bernard Hopkins and pushing back the rematch is that Jermaine Taylor wants to get the oldest possible Bernard Hopkins he could get in that rematch.
That's a good point. Bernard's not getting any younger. at 40 years of age. And, of course, it's only good as Taylor gets a little older and a little more mature, especially after winning the title. The old-timers would say that makes you 30% better.
We will hear from Bernard Hopkins. He will broadcast the 4th round with Teddy and me. So stay tuned for that. Bernard Hopkins set to join us in the next round. We come to the end of the 3rd round between James Lubwana and the veteran Rodney Tony on Friday Night Fights, presented by AutoZone.
Tropicana Orange Culotta from Dunkin' Donuts, made with real Tropicana orange juice. Finally, there's another way to get all the refreshment of oranges. Dunkin' Donuts, bring yourself back.
Introducing the new all-wheel drive Subaru B9 Tribeca. The end of the SUV as we know it. And the beginning of what an SUV should be.
Hi everyone, Matt Weiner here in the Sports Center studios once again. Hope you're enjoying the telecast you're watching. Due to time constraints, we are going to jump ahead to later action in the broadcast. We'll get you right back out there after the break.
Introducing Duralast, auto parts built to exceed the need. Alternators built with heavy-duty electronics for longer life. Brake pads built with molded technology for maximum durability. Water pumps built for improved engine cooling with some of the best warranties in the business, all built to exceed the need. Only at AutoZone.
What's holding you back? The always affordable Toyota Corolla S. Toyota, moving forward.
Coming up this week on Quite Frankly, Stephen A. Smith goes one-on-one with NFL superstar Terrell Owens, Knicks' new head coach Larry Brown, NBA great Allen Iverson, Charlie Weiss, Lou Holtz, and the future of Notre Dame football, plus the longest-suffering fans in baseball.
Go Cubs! Quite frankly, that's all you need.
Quite Frankly with Stephen A. Smith, weeknights at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN2.
Okay, guys, we wanted to get Bernard's thoughts on Ahmed Kaddour. In case you're not familiar with him, he was one of the competitors on the reality show The Contender, but now he's in the ultimate reality show, and that's In the Ring. Bernard, what'd you think of him against Maxell Taylor last week?
Oh, I think he showed a great progress, and, you know, threw a lot of punches, but he threw them wide. You know, remind me of Jermaine Teller a little bit. He threw a little wild punches. He shortened the punches up and keep them crisp. He'll be more effective and, you know, more damaging to his opponent. But, you know, other than that, I think he's done a great job, and, you know, he got a chance to fight in front of the world, and as he fight more often, he will become more comfortable mentally and physically, and we got somebody to look forward to watching in the future.
Good-looking guy like your buddy Oscar De La Hoya, you know. So
yes.
Definitely got some marketing opportunities.
Exactly.
So he can get in there and make it happen in the ring. All right, let's send it back out to Brockton now for more with Joe Tessitore and Teddy Allen.
Thanks, guys. We are preparing here for round number 5. Let's take a look at the headbutt in that 4th round, Teddy, and that opened up a real bad cut above the right eye of Rodney Tony. It was an accidental clash of heads. The good news is if the fight is stopped at any point due to that, we have put 4 rounds into the books so we can get at least a technical decision off of this.
Tony doing a pretty good job under the circumstances of a very awkward opponent. The steadier you are, the better your opportunities, the better your chances are with Lubwana.
That awkward opponent is James Lubwana wearing the black trunks. You see that Tony had a 53-23 power punch advantage through 4 rounds, landing 41%. Teddy Atlas's scorecard looks this way. The last 3 rounds going to Rodney Tony as he fires back, and Lubwana retreats.
So you can't have too much motion with Lubwana. You gotta have the motion at the right times, the opportune times with Lubwana. Throw as he's coming in, throw as he's going out. Too much motion gets you all twisted up. You remember that twister game, Joe?
Sure.
Remember, you have to put your
ran over here, green over there.
Leg over here, leg over there, a hand underneath you. Well, that's what you look like if you go chasing after Lubwana, like you win a twister game.
Awkward southpaw, in and out he goes, throwing punches at different angles. If you had a chance to visit with us earlier, you probably heard from Kasim Uma, and Kasim Uma, who gained a world title, and everybody knows his story, amazing story that has been played out time and time again. Growing up in Uganda and taken from his school at the age of 7 and thrown into the National Resistance Army. That happened to James Lubwana, the 36-year-old man in front of you tonight in this main event. At 12 years old, he was thrown into the National Resistance Army of Uganda. Of course, they would overthrow the Ugandan government, but it was a horrific life for these children. He was not allowed to leave the military, but then in 1998, boxing would be his way out. They went to New York to fight, and he defected, and he's been in this country ever since.
You know what he's doing right now? Not in this country only, but in his ring, he's going to the body. Right now, or at least his opponent, Tony, is going to the body of Lubwana. And that's a good strategy with an awkward guy that's all over the place. That will settle him down. One place you know you can find the guy who's awkward, and that's downstairs. That doesn't move as much as the upper part of the body does. And by going to the body, Tony is slowly starting to stabilize Lubwana just a little bit. Good move going downstairs by Tony.
Good strong run for Tony. 4 solid body punches connected according to CompuBox in this round.
ESPN Fantasy Football is so easy to use.
Yeah, and it doesn't require a major time commitment. And we love the camaraderie it engenders. The way we're talking is so weird. This room and our clothes. Randy, Candy, I don't think we exist.
What do you mean, Sandy?
I think we're just part of some guy's fantasy, and whoever he is, he obviously loves ESPN Fantasy Football, and we're just icing on the cake.
Ooh, there's cake?
ESPN Fantasy Football. Play for free at ESPN.com/fantasyfootball.
From TNT, an elite task force.
I was a fugitive profiler with Naval Intelligence.
What the hell is she doing in there? Rashad, she's in his head.
With one goal. Hunt down LA's most dangerous criminals.
This man made the list this morning.
This wasn't a bank robbery. It was an assassination.
The guy's moving. The kid's still in the same room.
I can't see him.
Next loud noise you hear is me.
The hunt begins tomorrow night. Wanted every Sunday night at 10/9 Central on TNT.
Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas with you at Campanelli Stadium, not far from 168 Dover Street in Brockton, Mass, where Perino and Pasqualina Marchigiano raised their son Rocco, who would grow up to be Rocky Marciano. We are here at the minor league baseball stadium. The team bears his name, the Brockton Rocks. Round number 6 of our main event. In that 5th round, Rodney Tony, who grew up in nearby Boston, 21 of 66. That's the high total so far, those 21 connects. Lubwana, the awkward southpaw from Uganda, only landing 7 punches. Teddy Atlas, you want to talk to the former undisputed middleweight champion, Bernard Hopkins, so go to it.
Bernard, I have a very important question for you. I brought up a point a couple of weeks ago, and it's gotten some people talking about it a little bit, and I'd like to go a little further with it. You turned your life around. Everybody knows that, and that's one of the great things about you coming out of prison. I've said a couple weeks ago that I believe that we should go back, and the state and the governor should go back and put boxing programs back into prisons, because they're missing a point by not doing it. There's a lot of young men that can be developed if there was a boxing program in prison.
You're absolutely right, Teddy. In Pennsylvania, they took all of the boxing out of 32 or 33 penitentiaries that exist in the PA system. And, you know, there's a lot of young talent, there's a lot of discipline that they can learn from boxing being incarcerated, because 80% of young men or men who's in prison eventually come home. And if they come home with no discipline, which led them to prison, obviously, then we're back where we started. I totally agree, Teddy. I heard you're commentating on that a couple of weeks ago, and I totally agree. I am a product. If you need any example, people in the world that's listening, Bernard Hopkins is that true example that boxing works in many ways, and it worked for me, Teddy, and I'm proud that I got an opportunity to display that to the people in the world.
You're absolutely right, Bernard, but the two of you could make a big difference with state legislatures around the country, and specifically in Pennsylvania. The two of you, Bernard Hopkins and Teddy Evans, got together to hammer home that point.
Bernard, let's work on that. Let's get that done, okay?
I'm there for you, Teddy. Whenever you're ready, I'm
duo there.
Let's get that done.
Coming to the final 30 seconds
you
here.
You politicians out there, listen and get ready to start doing that.
Coming to the end of this 6th round, more steady work from Rodney Toney. Not that he has completely figured out James Lubwana, but still in control of this fight, as he has been, in dealing with that gash above the right eye very well that started in the 4th round from a clash of heads. Coming to the end of round number 6, scheduled for 10 on Friday Night Fights, presented by AutoZone.
That kid left the music on again. It's so annoying.
This noise is unacceptable.
What the? I can't even. I have a 7 a.m. workout. And those guys upstairs are driving me crazy.
I love when he does that.
Let's go. Let's go.
It probably started with your dad. On a dirt road, in a backyard, over a long weekend, on a Honda. Traditions begin with dependability, with a hand on the throttle and a hand on the shoulder. At Honda, performance, like family, comes first. Check out the Red Hot Summer Festival, featuring monthly payments as low as $39, plus bonus bucks. See your Honda dealer for details.
Introducing Duralast, auto parts built to exceed the need. Alternators built with heavy-duty electronics for longer life. Brake pads built with molded technology for maximum durability. Water pumps built for improved engine cooling, with some of the best warranties in the business, all built to exceed the need. Only at AutoZone.
You look great. You look great. You look great.
How do I look?
Bad poker face? Doesn't matter when you play online at partypoker.net. It's fun, it's free, it's the world's largest poker school.
Buy some flowers. Buy some flowers.
36-year-old James Lubwana. Maybe an uphill battle ahead of him now as he comes out for round number 7 against Rodney the Punisher Toney, the 37-year-old who grew up in Boston. He's wearing the blue with white trim. 13-year pro, a veteran, had many good fights at 160 pounds. Beat Charles the Natural Bluer, was in with Quincy Taylor, William Jaffe, Silvio Bronco, Otis Grant. He was there back in the day. And then, of course, the long layoffs, and now trying to get back into the system among the light heavyweights and work his way back into the rankings.
Tony's done a terrific job. I have to applaud him. I wonder if Bernard feels the same way. I have a funny feeling he does. He's come in with the right fight plan, with a very difficult style of Lubwana. He's got complete control over the rhythm of this fight. He's actually got Lubwana in spots coming to him where he can do the countering, just like he tried right there.
And then chase him straight back.
And then catch Lubwana as he goes straight back. You know, it's a lot easier with an awkward guy when you make him come to you. He's not nearly as awkward as when you have to go chase him all over this squared circle. Tony simply getting it done at the right times. When he comes forward, he catches Lubwana. When he goes backward, as you said, Joe, he goes with him. And Lubwana breaks a lot of rules. He goes straight back, and he pays a price because Tony follows with him.
Doing a good job of landing the right hand there, and then a wide looping left hand to finish things up. Almost falling in here now, but chasing him straight again.
Lubwana, very game, very durable, very tough, very awkward. But right now, getting the worst of it with Tony. Tony just took a deep breath there. A little bit of a body language as though he's starting to feel a little bit maybe of that 37 years of age getting late in the 7th round.
I got it on it. One hit. I got it.
That would be one of the hopes for Lubwana, is that Tony starts slowing down a little bit. But you look like Tony just a moment ago gave a little bit of a look as though that might be happening. A little bit of a better moment right here for Lubwana. Little change in this round, as we just said, Joe, with Tony taking that deep breath and suddenly putting the car in neutral, at least for a moment.
They will have 3 more rounds as we come to the end of this 7th round. We're in Brockton, Massachusetts. Of course, the Petronellis and all that fame with Marvelous Marvin Hagler. This was his town in the 80s. And his counterpart, Tommy Hearns, is making a comeback this weekend. Guys.
Absolutely right, Joe. Tomorrow night in Michigan, Tommy Hearns at 46 years old, ready to get back into the ring. He's going to fight a journeyman fighter named John Hurricane Long. There's the Hitman, and there's Long at the weigh-in. Hitman weighed in at 177 pounds. And you take a look at the tail of the tape. Tommy Hearns looks like he's in good physical shape in terms of his training regimen, but there's a large concern here, Bernard. He really didn't look good the last time he was in the ring. That was 5 years ago against Uriah Grant. What are you expecting to see from this?
Well, 5 years later, I don't expect to see anything different. I mean, his opponent doesn't look like much, but you cannot never underestimate anyone. And, you know, the ring spoken to Tommy a long time ago, and I hate to see a legend, you know, go out this way at the stage of his life.
Mm-hmm. Bernard Hopkins has already made his decision. In January, he'll be done with his career, but Tommy Hearns ready to get back into the ring, guys, at age 46, and I don't know how wise a decision that is.
I have to agree with you, Stan, and not just about how wise a decision it is, but I don't like anything that takes away from the credibility and disrespects the sport, and I just have a feeling that that's what this circus act does, Teddy.
Well, I've spoken on that already, and you know, I have all the respect in the world, as Bernard does, for Tommy Hearns and what he's accomplished and what he's meant to this game. And how he's conducted himself in the ring in some tremendous, unforgettable fights, and he's conducted himself like a champion and a gentleman outside the ring. But enough is enough. The time comes, the bell tolls for everybody, and that time has come for Tommy, and I can't see anything positive with him going forward, even if he wins this fight, as Bernard said very well, with an opponent who really isn't much. What does the future tell? Who's he going to fight after that? And with the better fighters, there's going to be a price to pay.
Friday Night Fights coming to you from Brockton, Massachusetts, from Campanelli Stadium, home of the minor league independent Brockton Rocks, named after the legendary Rocky Marciano. It's been a really strong night of action. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas with you. Bernard Hopkins, our guest studio analyst in Bristol, Connecticut tonight. Coming up next, arm wrestling will be following this main event. You're watching James Lubwana, who defected after being drafted into the National Resistance Army of Uganda. Got his way into boxing, made it to New York, got a late start as a pro, and boxing turned his life around. Now at 36 years old, in against 37-year-old Rodney Tony, who's from Boston originally, had a great pro career in the mid to late 1990s, then had long layoffs, and now is trying to work his way into the light heavyweight rankings.
We talked about that deep breath being taken by Tony in the last round. This is the opportunity where Lubwana must find a way to capture rounds right now. And you know, I've been talking, Joe, about the opportunities for Tony to score. to catch Lubwana coming in, catch him going out. Let's talk about the opportunities. As you see again, Tony does a good job catching Lubwana going back. Let's talk about where there's opportunities for Lubwana, opportunities that he needs now to get back in this fight. And they are there. Watch Tony when he bounces. Right now he's set on his feet, so he's going to be productive. And he is productive right there. But right there he's bouncing. Watch as he gets out and he resets himself. Tony goes into a little bounce right there, up and down. Those are the moments where Lubwana must read that. And he must come forward and attack in those spots. Right there. Because those are the spots where Tony is not set to punch, not set to counter. And those are moments Lubwana can score.
Are there any virgins here?
This August,
we cannot let you go on being a virgin.
From the producer of Anchorman comes an adventure.
She seems nice. Something wrong with her underpants.
40 years in the making.
What am I supposed to say?
Just ask questions.
Can I help you?
I don't know. Can you?
We have a section of do it yourself.
Do you like to do it yourself?
The 40-year-old virgin.
Let's get out of here.
Hope you have a big trunk, because I'm putting my bike in it.
Rated R. Starts August 19th.
Yeah.
Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich with a crispy whole breast filet. It's the hottest thing on or in the planet. Do Wendy's. Do what tastes right.
Attention football fans, for the first time ever, Sports Illustrated is offering an NFL season subscription. That's right, you'll get SI's award-winning writing and spectacular photos covering the NFL from the preview issue to the Super Bowl recap. SI will give you the insight and analysis every NFL fan is looking for, including Dr. Z's weekly forecast and Peter King's Inside the NFL. And all 24 issues are yours for only $40, a savings of over 55%. Plus, you'll get an NFL fleece jacket with the logo of your favorite team absolutely free. Your subscription will include the NFL midseason report and SI Players, our exclusive weekly glimpse into the players' lives off the field. That's 24 issues, only $40, a savings of over 55%. Plus a free NFL team fleece jacket. Call and order your NFL season subscription now to ensure that you don't miss out on this limited time offer.
Call 1-800-531-4400 now or go online at SINFLoffer.com.
Action from the last round. Lubwana needs to get back in this fight. And to get back, he needs opportunities. You saw a moment ago that opportunity right there. You see Tony bouncing up and down. That might be just the ticket Lubwana needs, Joe, to climb back late in his fight.
You can see a delay in starting round number 9 here as they address the tape around the left glove of Rodney Toney. James Lubwana patiently waiting. Rodney Toney, you see him there, 37 years old. Such concern coming into this. He actually told us in leading up to this fight, he said, listen, you guys are southpaw. I'm back on TV. I am feeling pressure. But he's responded well. Power connects through 8 rounds. He has a 124-55 advantage. He's landed 36 body punches against the awkward James Lubwana. Lubwana in the black with white. Rodney Toney in the blue with white.
I'm looking for 2 things. I'm looking for Lubwana coming on a little stronger in these last few rounds. After a couple rounds ago, we saw Toney show a little sign of fatigue. And I'm looking for bouncing. Bouncing on Tony's behalf. When he bounces outside to reset himself, that's the opportunity, I believe, for Lubwana to get forward and score. And score he must, I believe, to have a shot in this fight.
Straight right hand from Rodney Toney. Teddy Atlas' scorecard, 78-75. The last round going to James Lubwana. Lubwana trained by Johnny Bump City Bumpfist, the former WBA super lightweight world champion. And all the contingency from West Palm Beach, Florida, who has been along for the ride for recently dethroned titleist Kasim Uma.
And a good job in the corner of Toney, too. John Hazard, Harold Combs, been around a long time, good trainer, former middleweight, and Pitt Perrin doing a good job with the battle plan for Tony. Catch him coming and catch him going.
Harold Combs, Rodney Toney's father. who brought him at age 20 down to the YMCA in Boston and hooked him on the sport.
See, that's what I was talking about in the tips. You just saw a peek of that. Lubwana gets inside, and he's behind in the fight, at least on our scorecards. Again, gets inside, he's looking to get in, he's working to get in. He didn't get in because he got transported in there by Star Trek. He worked his way, he had an intention to get in there. Why are you getting in there if you're gonna put your hands behind your opponent and you're not gonna allow yourself to work? Especially when you're behind in a fight. Tony can afford to tie up on the inside. Lubwana cannot. He needs points. He needs punches.
Hey, James, they're holding him.
And he's wasting time right there. Once again, watch Tony when he bounces. He's going to go into that bounce. That's the moment when Lubwana must not do that. He must come forward. There's the bounce again. Lubwana was a little too far away to score. There's a slip there. See, Joe, the only way Lubwana's going to take advantage of Tony bouncing, and it's there, is to recognize it and to be close enough to strike when the striking is good. If Lubwana's too far out of range, by the time he comes in, the bouncing will be finished. Tony will be set to punch again. Right there's the bouncing. And Lubwana was just a little late, Joe.
There needs to be more of an urgency with Lubwana.
There are no gas grills at the Great Lenexa Barbecue Battle.
No gas.
Why not?
You don't get the flavor with gas. Charcoal is the thing.
Any particular charcoal?
It's Kingsford.
Yeah?
Kingsford.
For the taste.
Yeah, you get a better flavor out of your meat.
Kingsford, because taste is everything.
Look at those two babies. Oh. Oh, man. Those are like the double-decker versions. I could put every one of my boys in there. Let's go. I'm sweating my labels off over here.
Keep on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side.
A sunny, warm welcome. A fresh, satisfying start. More rewards to brighten your day. At Days Inns, it's not just about the change we put in your pocket. It's about the change we make in your journey.
Why don't you keep on the sunny side of life?
Stay a spell at Days Inns and get $250 in discount coupons every time you stay.
Introducing Duralast, auto parts built to exceed the need. Alternators built with heavy-duty electronics for longer life. Brake pads built with molded technology for maximum durability. Water pumps built for improved engine cooling with some of the best warranties in the business, all built to exceed the need. Only at AutoZone.
Today, you're a super painter with the Wagner Quick Touch Power Roller. One touch, and you control a continuous flow of paint. The innovative Power Roller. One of the ways Wagner gives you more power, because there's always something that needs painting. Wagner. Paint fast. Paint smart.
The itching and burning of athlete's foot. Lotrimin Ultra gets rid of it with the latest prescription strength ingredient that penetrates to kill the fungus right where it starts. So powerful, one use a day is all you need. Lotrimin Ultra, the killer cure.
10th and final round between these veteran light heavyweights, James Lubwana and Rodney Tony. Teddy has detailed it. The opportunities from Lubwana are when Rodney Tony is in that bouncing mode that you see right there. He needs to be more aggressive, and Teddy, there needs to be a sense of urgency in doing so.
And there needs to be a sense of position. He needs to set himself close enough where when he does come in urgently, as you said, Joe, very appropriately, he needs to be close enough to make that strike before the bouncing is gone. Lubwana's staying too far out of range. By the time he makes his move and he closes the gap to take advantage of the bouncing of Tony, a couple of times Tony is already set again.
Don't do it, baby. Don't do it.
Watch, you're going to see the bouncing come up. Watch when Tony goes out. Now, in a moment, you're going to see a break here. Now, watch when you see the break. Watch Tony to reset himself. He'll go into that bounce. That time he didn't do it. He came forward right away. Once again, Lubwana must not be tied up. Tony can be tied up, being ahead in this fight. Lubwana cannot get tied up. He needs his hands free to have any hope of pulling this fight out of the fire.
Don't hit, don't hit, don't hit.
Not a lot of thinking by Lubwana now, just coming forward. Now watch Tony to go into that bounce when he usually steps out. Let's see now on the break. This is where usually, there it is. Tony goes into that bounce. Lubwana leaves him alone. There's the bounce again, Joe. And that's where Lubwana, he uses the jab there effectively, but he needs at this point to do a little bit more than just jab. And there's the bouncing of Tony. Unfortunately for Lubwana, he's out of range. There's the bounce again of Tony. Tony keeping the formula consistent that he started with early in the fight, Joe. Catch Lubwana as he comes. Look to catch him as he goes. And don't overwork. Don't chase him all over the ring. Don't get out of position with an awkward fighter. Tony's done a pretty good job of following that game plan.
Rodney Tony, back where he belongs, he says. Back in the Boston area, where he started his career is where he wants to finish it, and he wants to finish it in style. The 37-year-old coming down the stretch, clubbing with a left hand, and now chasing in on the inside with another left hand as they wrap up their 10 rounds of action, Lubwana and Rodney Tony. Let's check in with Stan Barrett and Bernard Hopkins.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot. We're going to head back out to Brockton and get the decision from our main event coming up in just a minute. Bernard Hopkins, big fight coming up December 3rd, the rematch with Jermaine Taylor. And what's your mindset as you get ready to go to camp and train for that rematch?
My mindset is to do what I normally do, is take every fight seriously. I recognize that I carry a different title. Jermaine Taylor is the industry champion, and I am the people's champion. So I will represent myself and the people come December 3rd and make sure clearly that Dwayne Ford is nowhere around the building.
Do you train differently in thinking? I know you said you want to knock him out, so there's no question about it. Do you train differently in looking for the knockout than you did for a fight that you expect to go to the difference?
Well, I think I do what I do well. I think I do what I did last time. I think that, you know, once you deviate and think that you have done anything, that you have done something that wasn't your plan, then you give them an excuse. I think that I will continue to be Bernard Hopkins and do what I have to do, but I must understand that Jermaine Taylor must not see the 12th round.
All right. Appreciate you joining us here, and good luck in the rematch.
Thank you.
All right. Make sure you join us on Tuesday. There's more fights coming your way here on ESPN2. Join us Tuesday, August 2nd, 10 p.m. Eastern at ESPN2. Tuesday night fight spotlights undefeated featherweight prospect and Kansas City favorite Marcos Ramirez, who has another full-time job, fireman and EMT. And he'll take on veteran priest Tiger Smalls. Next Friday, August 5th, 9 p.m. Eastern on
We both consider this a must-win for Tony to keep moving forward and for Brewer to re-establish himself. But now he's trying to do it as a super middleweight, up to 166 3/4, doesn't have to count calories. He felt that cost him the fight against Raphael Williams. And Brewer with a height advantage and the reach advantage. We are in Connecticut at the Foxwoods Casino, and here are the Connecticut rules. Standing 8 count is in effect. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. You can be saved by the bell only in the final round, and the scoring on the 10-point must scoring system. We're ready for the introduction, so let's go to our ring announcer, the very capable and popular Chuck Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee for the next bout of the evening is Mr. John Duke Lawson. The next bout, ladies and gentlemen, a featured event of the night featuring 10 rounds of boxing in the super middleweight division. Introducing, in the red corner, fighting out of Campo, California, weighing in at 166 pounds, with a professional record of 18 wins, no defeats, 2 draws, with 11 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the undefeated Rodney Tony. And in the blue corner, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, he weighed in at 166 3/4 pounds, His professional record, 23 wins, 4 defeats, 17 KOs. Introducing Charles Brewer.
Good evening once again, gentlemen. You both received your instructions in your respective dressing room. I want to emphasize 2 points. Protect yourselves at all times and obey my commands at all times. Any questions on my left? Any questions on the right? Time to boogie.
Move over, Michael Buffer.
Well, he saw Boogaloo Watson there.
Yeah.
Bobby, nickname used to be Boogaloo.
Charles Brewer is ranked number 6 in the middleweight division before the Beasley fight. He had dropped to 10 before the Williams fight. He has now dropped out of the rankings, not even among the top 30 middleweights, but he doesn't really care about that because he's now a super middleweight. And Rodney Toney comes out, a red-hot fighter from the New England area. He gets this crowd around him. 6 straight knockouts and 9 in his last 10 victories. Looking very much like another Toney, James Toney, who Rodney claims is his second cousin. Our understanding is James doesn't know about it. Not aware of the fact that they may be related.
Depends on if he wins tonight, maybe.
That'll be his first cousin.
Hey, that's my cousin. Rodney Toney says he is a boxer-puncher. Said his best punch is the right cross. I have good power. I can put my opponents down and put them out. We talked about him working on that 6-fight KO streak.
Brewer maybe a little gun-shy. He was knocked out by Beasley in the first, knocked down by Williams in the first. You see him trying to keep the distance. There is the left and then the right by Toney, who for good reason feels that Charles Brewer has a weak chin. Right on cue.
And there is why. Charles Brewer again in the first round.
And he is upset. He's allowing Toney to get inside. That's what happened with Raphael Williams. He got inside. Now it is Brewer who has to find some confidence, which is very difficult at this moment. He's got to get back to his game plan. There you see he's upset at himself. His game plan is get the jab going.
And get some extension on his punches. He is trying to change his style. Now he's trying to be more of a boxer. This is a fighter who is a tough slugger from Philadelphia, like so many of those Philadelphia fighters are. But it's a fighter who's also 6'1" in the superweight and middleweight division. He should use his height and reach advantage. He is very tall for this classification.
And you know, prior to the 2 knockouts handed to Brewer, he had knocked out 8 in a row. He zoomed all the way to number 6 in the world. He looked like the heavy-handed power puncher who might be indestructible.
Oh yeah, he was climbing the ladder of the middleweight division. They talked of bigger and better fights for him. He was looking down the road, and he got looked into a right hand from Lonnie Beasley. And this is where it happened, when they were both nose to nose. Actually, Brewer moving in. Lonnie Beasley threw the jab and the uppercut and caught Brewer running in.
You know, in the Raphael Williams fight, Brewer did survive that first round knockdown and actually came on to shake up Raphael Williams in the 3rd round before Brewer went out in the 6th. Yep. So we're in the final 10 seconds. Charles Brewer looking as if he might be able to survive this first round knockdown.
As cool as your red top and favorite hot spots. It's something with hometowns and everyone's class clown. It's always been true. This bud's for you.
Just for you, a taste you'll find in no other beer at any price. Beechwood Aged Budweiser.
It's always been true. Want something new with a lot of great taste? Well, I know where they make it. It's down at Long John Silver's now. And who'd have thought they'd make it? Flavor baked chicken, flavor baked fish. Come on in and get your wish. Long John Silver's. Go fish.
The customized 1947 Harley Davidson, about $15,000. The Big Twin Shaver, about 35 cents. What do they have in common? They're both worth every penny.
First round action, the nemesis for Charles Brewer.
Yep. Ran into something. They have given him so many instructions over there in this corner that he may come out this round a little bit more confused, and he may still be hurt from that punch in the first round. He was obviously upset with himself because of that.
Well, here are some of the instructions he received after that first round in his corner from Bobby Boogaloo Watts.
Let's go, double jab, throw your right hand. When you throw the right hand, it's like this, it's sideways. Just finish up the combination with the left hook, and you got him, okay? But you gotta keep jabbing, all right?
Set him up with it. Set him up with that jab.
You did great, okay? Just don't get desperate, all right?
Yeah, keep the jab going, says Watts, but there's a problem with that for Brewer, because every time he throws that jab, he drags it back down. Over the top comes Rodney Toney. Remember what Toney said? He's susceptible to the overhand right. That's my best punch. I'm going to be throwing that all night. And that was Rodney Toney's fight plan in this one. He was going to be cautious, take it to him, and bring the overhand right. So for Charles Brewer, he has to get back to the jab like Bobby Webb says, but he has to double up that jab. And you have to use that jab and use your shoulder if you have a style like Charles Brewer. They also want for Brewer to move around to his right, away from the powerful right hand of Rodney Toney. Remember Michael Moore and George Foreman over the weekend? Moore moving into the powerful right hand of George Foreman. They want Charles to move away from the right hand of Toney.
Toney always looking to set up the right. He has moved into the rankings at number 19 as a middleweight. He's a natural middleweight, but he put on 6 pounds for this one and kind of physically looks a lot like James Toney.
He does. He does.
Especially when he is advancing forward. Charles Brewer had tremendous power in the early rounds. Of his 17 knockouts, 16 have come in the first 4 rounds. But he has been nailed in the first round now in 3 of his last 4 fights. After he was knocked out by Beasley and by Williams, he has come back in kind of a reestablish some confidence type of a fight against Terry Sage at a record of 7-5 and was taken out by Brewer in the second round. That was just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and a learning fight for Brewer, a fight that he needed to get back on the winning trail. He said the changes now, I'm very much more relaxed now inside the ropes. I'm focused on relaxing, but when you got a guy all over you like Toney, that's difficult to do.
Both flailing away.
For the first time anywhere, Hercules.
Help me, Hercules.
Half man, half god, all action. An all-new action-packed adventure. Tony Katane, Anthony Quinn, and Kevin Sorbo as Hercules in the underworld. Check your local listings for time and channel.
Did you know that your radiator begins to deteriorate from the moment you first add water? Rust and sludge quickly build up in your cooling system, causing leaks and other common radiator problems. By adding Radiator Restore Sealer Conditioner to your car's coolant, you can protect your entire cooling system by keeping it clean and avoiding radiator problems. And if a leak does happen, Radiator Restore's environmentally safe ingredients will stop the leak in seconds. Protect your cooling system with the power of Radiator Restore.
USA's Tuesday night fights. Al Albert along with the champ, Sean O'Grady, and this one is really heating up. Charles Brewer in the black trunks and Rodney Toney in the red trunks. Toney 18-0-2 with 11 knockouts, and 9 of them have come in his last 10 victories. And he is ranked 19th in the world in the middleweight division. Charles Brewer, who was ranked as high as number 6, but has fallen out of the rankings after being stopped and upset by Lonnie Beasley and Raphael Williams back-to-back. And each of these 2 fighters going in understanding the significance. And Rodney Toney carrying it in between rounds. Rudy Elias is there, and he was right to the point after round 2.
Okay, you gotta come up with the left hook, and you gotta lean towards his right hand, his right side. Okay, so you can finish finish up with the left hook. He's wide open in his right side. Okay, just don't concentrate on the top, you know, go to the body. Right here.
Outstanding instructions from Elias. He is very specific about what he says. Now he says that now Charles Brewer is looking for that right hand, so you got to open him up with the left hook. Sometimes you get a fighter, you can't hit him with one punch, you got to go to the other punch. That's what they're trying to do with Rodney Toney right now. And see him again trying to set him up for that right hand, and Brewer ducks under it every time. But Brewer has been hit with that right hand because look at the left hand of Charles Brewer. See where he carries it? He tries to fend off all the punches with that right hand, with his right glove. He'll try to block the left hook. Well, he missed the left hook there, but that's the danger of having that one glove up by your face and the other glove down by your body.
Upstairs again goes Tony. Elias also wanting Tony to throw in a little body work. Send in the combination, not just that right hand.
Yeah, body work, because your opponent's looking for all the punches to the head. When you go out there looking for that home run ball, oh, it is so hard to find it. Rodney Toney expected a knockout tonight. If he can relax, take his time, set up his punch, he has 7 more rounds, 6.5 more rounds to do it, then he might be able to find it.
Tony has been beyond the 6th only once. As a matter of fact, in his last 6 fights this year, very busy guy, he's gone a total of 10 rounds. He's done some quick work. But Rodney Toney is a fighter who's seen some pretty tough competition very early in his career.
Hurt again is Brewer. Brewer does not want to stand in here like this. Look at him wobbling. Charles Brewer's hurt again. You got to get back to that left jab.
10 seconds to go in the 3rd, and we will pause for a word from your local cable systems.
Has it been a while since you've been to the dentist?
The folks at Briarwood Dental Center gave me my smile back, and I didn't feel a thing. I used to be afraid of the dentist, but not anymore. I should have done it years ago.
My wife and I were a little worried we wouldn't be able to manage the cost of dental work until we went to Briarwood.
I really like the orthodontist who put on my braces, and I'm going to have a great smile.
Briarwood Dental Center of Weymouth. Find us in the 9X Yellow Pages.
CE Optical, for the professional difference. We view each satisfied customer as our best form of advertising. We feature a large selection of top quality eyewear without inflated prices. From contact lenses to lightweight and designer rims crafted with the latest technology, CE Optical has it. We even take special orders. CE Optical can work with your old prescription or introduce you to the finest ophthalmologists on the South Shore. So trade those big prices for personal service and come see CE Optical for the best in sight. CE Optical, 820 Washington Street, Braintree.
Albert and Sean O'Grady ringside at the Foxwoods Casino. Vinny Pazienza, home away from home. He is in the main event tonight. And we are, Sean, in the new bingo hall, which is just about 5 months old. The expanding Foxwoods Casino on the Mashantucket Pequot Indian Reservation. And this hall actually opened with a performance from Pavarotti. They've gone from Pavarotti to boxing.
Beautiful arena. And beautiful combinations from Rodney Toney. Coming back, Charles Brewer. Good overhand right. Best punch from Charles Brewer yet. Still begging for Brewer between rounds to get back to the left jab. But this is where they don't want Charles Brewer. Nose to nose. And this is
Brewer whacking away.
Just as I'm saying that. Good combination from Charles. Rodney Toney is hurt. Look at him wobbling.
Charles Brewer, the most important fight in his career, trying to prove that he is not a shot fighter.
Yeah, he is a very hard puncher, too. And many times with those hard punchers, they don't take that good of a shot to the chin.
Wailing away now is Brewer. Brewer coming on here in round number 4. He's the pitcher and Tony's the catcher.
Yeah, not only a hard puncher, he's got a 78-inch reach. That is very long. You try to pull away from his punches and you can't do it. catches Wynn.
Or catch Brewer with the uppercut. The mouth of Tony coming open, coming down to 40 seconds, and a turnaround round for Charles Brewer, who again was down in the first round, and now Tony is coming back. Oh, Brewer losing his balance. Leaves himself open in the corner for Tony. Brewer has to fight out of the corner. And does! And the crowd appreciates the 360 move by Charles Brewer.
Oh, an important combination after a right foot pivot. Nice work this round from Charles Brewer. This is the way he likes fighting. The rounds go by faster. Sometimes it's dangerous, though. He can get hit easier inside, but he was doing all the punching in that round. Big round for Charles Brewer.
Pace yourself, okay? Pick clean shots, but you're not bringing them back. You're not putting them together, okay? You're low off. You got to put them together right behind each other. Immediately right behind each other. Don't hold them. Let them go. But see, when you go over top, bring him back to the body. Don't worry about his head.
Bobby Boogaloo Watts trying to settle his fighter down. Here is Charles Brewer pounding in this fourth round. Good combinations from him. Standing flat-footed, throwing punches. Rodney Tony cannot get out of the way of these punches. He pulls back. There's still 4 inches left on the reach of Charles Brewer.
Water.
Rudy Elias.
Come on, Rodney.
Come on, man. Rodney Tony.
You can do it. Come on. Use your head, man. Use your head, Rodney.
Maybe use his gloves up around his head.
Rodney.
Well, I think he was using that head too much.
Use your head to think,
as a target.
Not to catch punches.
Not to block his punches.
Well, how about this statistic? Between the two, they have accounted for 28 knockouts, and each fighter has only one after the fourth round. And that is where we are right now, heading into round number 5. Boogaloo Watts was concerned that Charles Brewer may have punched himself out in what was a vicious fourth round. He certainly took that round.
Yeah, terrific fourth round for him, but also Rodney Tony knows that. See how strong he's coming out this round? The big overhand right from Tony. When you have an opponent who's expending a lot of energy in one round, the next round his muscles may still be tired if you can jump right on him like Tony did. But, you know, the early barrage of punches from Rodney Tony may have taken a lot of steam out of him. It also takes steam out of you when you get hit with a hard punch. You grow tired, more tired. Your arms grow weary. You just feel sleepy. And many times you go to sleep. Good double left hook from Brewer. He loves that left hook. He is naturally left-handed.
Teeing off Tony, but he gets whacked back by the roundhouse left of Brewer. Halfway through round 5, it is scheduled for 10. Tony again upstairs and again. And Brewer fires off the combination.
Yeah, when Brewer stands up, he gets in trouble. When he is down, low, he lowers his center of gravity. Every time he stands up, he raises his head and he drops his hands. And then he gets hit, his neck, his head flies. It hurts. There's a good head-flying
Launching shot. And Brewer goes at it. Tony wobbling. Trying to come forward. Trying to fight back. And he does. Rodney Tony showing his tough side.
Back and forth.
Digging to the body is Brewer.
And Charles is just brewing.
Right there.
Good fight setting the table for our main event. The guy who beat Brewer, Raphael Williams, looking to pull off the upset against Vinny Pazienza, is looking ahead at Roberto Duran again.
And a good combination again by Rodney Tony when Charles Brewer stood up. Brewer straightens up, he raises his head,